and Professor Schleitweiler, do you guys have any thoughts about how you go about being better allies, and especially on campus? And I know with like teaching, how does this experience fit into your teaching or your work at the Internet Information League? Either one.
I think at this stage of Japanese American history, those generational markers are as much about sort of when it is that you kind of come to some awareness of the world as they are about sort of your specific family history. So I'm Yonsei. I'm also, I think of myself as a kind of post-redress generation, right? So redress was happening when I was a kid, and I was actually somewhat aware of it going on. I remember I have this strong memory of being in a Little League baseball game and sitting on the bench, and my uncle, my great uncle actually came to my game, and he gave me these brochures about redress, and I was reading them, and it tells you, one thing it tells you is that I was a terrible baseball player, right? Because I had a lot of time on the bench to read this. But so that shaped me, right? And then, as I became more aware of the world, there's this kind of the sort of follow-up to redress, the sort of the political activity and the cultural activity that came after that, flowered after that, was shaping my world. But then, by the time I was coming out of college, about 10 years after redress or so, a lot of us thought, a lot of Japanese Americans in my generation thought, maybe we've done this work, right? Maybe this work has happened. Maybe this, all the efforts by previous generations to recover this story have been satisfactory, right? And maybe these resources need to be directed towards other communities that are facing more severe problems. And so for a lot of us, we thought, maybe this story has been told. And then 9/11 happened, right? And then we realized, oh, no, actually, this is what we're here for, right? This is why we remember this. And then the 2016 election happened. And so I think now there's a new kind of cohort of young folks whose understanding of the world has been shaped by this history, right? Who say, to be Japanese American, to identify this history is to identify with solidarity towards others, right? That we have to remember this because we see the need for this memory to operate in the world.
I mean, at least in my perspective, we always say that history repeats itself. I actually believe that history doesn't necessarily repeat itself, but it often rhymes, right? And at ADL, we often talk about how we're in new times, but it's often old hate that we see every single day, right? We see, hate in, for example, in Lahani, in Sammamish, we recently saw swastikas and racist graffiti on people's homes, right? And we talk about how there's this resurgence of hate that we see in our communities today. I mean, we think of Seattle as this like progressive community oftentimes, but deep down and really understanding, there is a deep-seated white supremacy culture here, and across the Pacific Northwest that we don't necessarily recognize all the time. So I think as a fourth generation Japanese Americans, what do I see as my role in this movement to, ensure that this never happens again? For me, it's using my power and my privilege, recognizing my privilege as a fourth generation immigrant to the United States, right? A lot of the newer immigrant populations have similar struggles that Japanese Americans, for example, had when they first came to